Welcome to the Final Scoop. My name is Robert Schinetsky. Joining me are my loquacious band of merry men in Robert Samborsky, Apollon Nutrition, Lukasz Rytkowski of Prometeus Intelligent Sports Technology, Shane Smith, Stack 3D News, and TJ at Fitness Deal News. Welcome, my friends. We are back yet again. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Great.
How's everything?
Where's the monster, Shane?
I know, Shane. This is ritual, man.
I took a risk today because I woke up. Because whenever you can avoid having caffeine, I believe avoid having caffeine, right? Because I could use that 150 today when I go to the gym. So I woke up and I was like, I feel pretty good. I was like, let's just do it. So I threw some water in my eyes.
Wow, look at you.
I feel pretty good.
You're going commando. You're going commando.
Standing.
Okay.
And for the listeners out there, we are recording this 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on Saturday here in Austin, Texas. Where Shane is living in New Zealand, it is 6 a.m. So your boy rolls straight out of bed, puts on the headphones, and
Sunday.
jams.
6 a.m. Sunday.
That's crazy, man. No stims.
No stims. Shane is a trooper, ladies and gentlemen.
I know, Lucas. Lucas is probably like this. How are you doing this right now?
I'm already like getting closing to bed. You know, it's 8 p.m. It's 8 p.m. here in Poland, so it's
just two capsules of overtime.
Yeah.
So since we've got Lukasz on the thing, but for our get to know segment this week, I figure it's time we talk to my Polish brother from another mother. So Lukasz, give us a little bit of background, how you got into the industry, your upbringing, your athletic background, if any, your STEM tolerance, and take it from there, my friend.
Sure. I'm not gonna banter too much. I was born and raised in Poland. I'm Polish, as you guys know. That's why my English is so fucked up. So I apologize everyone for my bad English. If I'm gonna make some mistakes, sorry guys for that. What can I say? I'm in this industry for quite some time. I started everything with a company you probably know called Athletic Extreme. They were based in US. So that's basically how I started my journey with this industry. I was there, what can I say? It wasn't at first a sales manager job, but it was more like a rep. So in Poland, we had a big forum, a bodybuilding forum. Back in the days, it was very, how can I say? There wasn't that much, hype as far as like, YouTube or any social media things. The forums were the most traffic based, stuff. So yeah, I was at Polish forum doing my thing, and I approached Athletic Extreme just because I liked their products, and I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to start my journey in this industry. So yeah, and imagine that one general manager approached me and said that, yeah, we can do something together. So that's how I started. And basically Prometeus back in the days was the main distributor for Athletic Extreme. And that's how my CEO found me, and basically how we started, at first, like, working together and doing some stuff. And after that, my CEO said that, my future CEO said, yeah, Lukasz, we can do something together. And he approached me, and we started working together more and more. And after some time, I became a sales manager for Prometeus. And that's how I work now. It's been like 12 years now. So I'm representing Prometeus, as you guys know. So it's a Netherlands distributor that's based. We are based in Netherlands, in Emmen, and we distribute all the US and EU brands in Europe, and not only in Europe but also in other countries. We work with many companies across basically the globe. What can I say? So yeah, but that's basically my journey as far as is the industry. And as far as like my athletic background, when I was 8 years old, I started playing basketball. That's how I
deadlifting.
Yeah, that's how everything started for me. And after basketball, I started lifting weights. I was a chubby little bastard, so I was pretty heavy till I was like 17, 18 years old. I was overweight. And
what was your favorite food then? Everything?
Yeah, I was eating. I didn't care about eating like eating foods. You know how it is in Poland. We have like this homemade meals. Pierogi, those kind of things.
Yes, I was trying to think of the name.
Pierogi, kielbasa, all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
We were in Taco, and I was trying to remember the name of the thing we had, the cheese thing.
Yeah, pierogi. You mean pierogi, right?
I did not like it, but Nikki did. So I mean,
it's like for listeners, it's like dumplings. They are like stuffed with different feelings, So
is that the
like
goat cheese one?
Food. What?
Is that the goat cheese one? Is it the? There was that one, and it was like.
You mean ostipek?
Yes, that one. Okay,
Yeah.
not the pierogi. The pierogi was nice. That one was the one.
Ostipek is like a goat cheese. Yeah, it's like it's smoked cheese. So yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah,
it was unique, but I did not like that one.
Yeah, it's like a unique flavor. So you know how it is. Some people like vodka, some people like beer, and some people like ostipek. So yeah, you know how it is.
So there's a Shane, bouncing off of that. There's a local brewery around here called Live Oak, and they do a Polish style beer called a Grodziskie, and it's a smoked pilsner or a smoked lager, I believe. It's an acquired taste. It is is smoking stuff a big thing over there, Lucas? Like actually in Poland, because kielbasa, we got the smoked beer, we got the smoked cheese thing that you were talking about.
Yeah, it's very traditional, And in our local stores, you can also find like different kinds of like smoked fish. That's pretty awesome. You can find like smoked cod, smoked salmon, those kinds of things. On the go snack, perfect.
I like smoked salmon. I've never tried smoked cod before. That'll be something.
Isn't that a bit smelly though? I mean, as an on-the-go snack, like.
What?
Do you guys? Isn't it smelly? I mean, do you guys like have this smoked freaking food? Go into a meeting?
Not at all.
I think
what is that? Like you remove the smell?
It doesn't have this fishy this fishy smell as you have this. It's really like a smoky, kind of like a salty taste, but it's really good. You need to try it definitely.
See, I don't eat.
I'm surprised that it doesn't have a smell. Oh, really? I'm just surprised it doesn't have a smell. I mean, it sounds like a startup.
I think it might. Maybe you just. Let's start. I think maybe it does. No. I think maybe it does. And Lucas doesn't notice.
Yeah, it's like when you smoke cigarettes, right? Like when you smoke and you don't know that you smell like shit until you stop smoking.
That's the worst thing ever. I can't stand cigarettes.
Like, well, when I was there, I didn't notice any like. I didn't notice people smelling like fish all over the place.
So maybe Lukasz is right. They actually solved the smell problem.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. Definitely.
Okay. Lucas, how long have you been with Prometeus? And then start from there to see how you've seen the supplement market evolve from when you started with Prometeus to today in 2020.
Man, it's been like right now. Well, now it's gonna be like 12 years. So since then, everything's changed, from like the industry evolved like so much, and it's hard to explain in just like 5 to 10 minutes. each year is basically different, and you see the expansion of different things. Like few years back, I could say that, for example, there was like tons of, hype around athletes, and nowadays it's more like, global pandemic as far as like social media, functional foods, those kinds of things. So yeah, like every year is different, and Shane can also say exactly the same thing, especially when he likes, when he comes to expos and he sees what's going on. So every year is different. So yeah, man, it's like you need to go with trends. You need to like try to improve your range of products. We basically even per month we are like changing our stock, and as far as like brands, which brands are selling goods, which are not. So yeah, you always need to like evolve and try to make changes.
What are the I guess the top 5 or 10 brands over there?
You know what? It's hard to say because every region has its own preferences. Some things that can sell in Poland doesn't have to sell in like Czech Republic or Slovakia. I'm a sales manager that handles Poland and other Baltics regions, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Slovenia, and I can tell you right from the get-go that every region is different. And yeah, man, for example, in Czech Republic, I can sell like pallets of peanut butter, and in the Baltics, I can sell like tons of like cheap ass protein. So it's hard to say which brand sells the most. For example, right now there is this hype around functional foods, and protein bars are selling a lot. M&M's is right now on the top spot. So basically, like protein, everything that is infused with protein, protein bars, protein spreads, protein chocolate, those kinds of things are selling like crazy. But there was a time that, for example, like few months before the pandemic, we were selling like loads of protein powders, so, and pre-workouts, of course. So, but yeah, like I said, everything is changing from month to month, and now due to the COVID situation, it's also hard to say how's the market gonna evolve and everything.
Do American companies fare well in your region, or is it mostly the local companies to you that are the best sellers?
Nowadays, I see this trend that like U.S. brands are decreasing, and more and more European companies are like taking their spot. I think it's due to availability, due to the fact that European brands can offer basically same or even better products. I can tell you from the start that, for example, the functional foods that are based in Europe are on another level. Shane can say exactly the same thing. Yeah, so Europe is dominating this part of the market. And as far as like, importing stuff like protein powders or other stuff, doesn't make any sense, because you can manufacture exactly the same thing here in Europe in half of the cost. So that's also plays a big impact, on the final pricing. So, and we also have the different regulations, so that also have an impact. So yeah, we can't sell, as we already touched in the last podcast, we can't sell stuff that is in some, for example, in US is manufactured, and for example, some of the even raw big products wouldn't be able to be sold legally in Europe. So yeah.
Any other questions from the other panel members?
Yeah, Lukasz, like you said that you are the sales manager for a few countries, right? Not just Poland.
Yeah.
So the question is, would you Is there such things like, for example, because Czech Republic and Poland are so close to each other, but is there a product or a brand that is popular, say, for example, in Poland, and completely the opposite in Czech Republic, and vice versa, where something is popular in Czech Republic and completely no demand in Poland?
You know what? I think that pre-workouts are definitely this kind of like a range that are popular in. For example, C4 is still very popular in Poland, and also it sells and people like it. Plus, the pricing is pretty cool, especially with the ultimate, this kind of things. But also, animal range is very, very popular here in Poland. So animal pack, those kind of things are selling very well here. But in Czech Republic, they put more emphasis into like functional foods nowadays, which I've noticed, and I can tell you from the get-go that they like a lot Redcon 1 stuff, as well as PES Select Protein. The Snickerdoodle is probably one of the top sellers, right, in this region.
Is the sorry.
Go.
Is Extra Fit and Nutrient, are they as popular in Poland as they are in Czech Republic?
They are. We are neighbors, so they basically we are like exchanging goods. They are selling to us Nutrient and Extra Fit, while we are selling to them, Olymp.
Yeah.
Ostrovit. Our
I know
brands.
that I remember I don't remember seeing like Nutrient and Extra Fit. You don't really see them further west, further east in Europe. It's just really those central kind of. So I was curious how far they went.
They got few distributors, few partners, here in Poland. So they basically are distributed around Poland as well. But Nutrient is very popular across the gallerias. So basically, they are like they have some agreements with fitness chains, gyms, those kind of things.
Oh yeah.
I have a question for you in terms of, I remember the company was very, very popular from Czech Republic, I believe, Amex. And the question is, you just like touched a little bit on about like athletes and how it used to be and how the market changed, right? So I know Amex was sponsoring Dennis Wolf, who at the time was probably one of the biggest names in bodybuilding. Would you say, because I don't know how Amex is doing, after they parted ways with Dennis Wolf, is the company still as popular? Did it make any change, the fact that Dennis Wolf is no longer with them, or the fact that he is no longer with them, did that impact the company and it's less popular than it used to be?
To be honest, they are not popular.
Okay.
You can still find their range in some stores. And you can also, in Poland, we have this, how can I say it? We have this kind of Amazon thing, but it's called, in Poland, called Allegro. So it's like an auction portal where you can buy a different brands through people that are like, basically, they have their shops, or they just basically a private person that just have like, for example, range of product they just want to sell via their websites, or basically their like smaller shops. So yeah, some of them are still selling Amex,
but do you think that Amex popularity or anything has to do with the fact that Dennis Wolf is no longer with them, or just the company was never that popular, or it had no connection to Dennis Wolf at all?
You know what? I think when Dennis was popular, it definitely helped the brand with the growth and everything. But once they parted ways, I think that MX lost their how can I say it?
popularity, following.
Yeah.
They also didn't really do much, did they? Like I remember because I always thought those guys were bloody German. I had no idea where they're from, but they.
I think they're from Czech Republic. I might be wrong. They are. Right?
I looked online just then, and they said they were founded in the UK. So I don't know where the hell they're from.
No, the Amix is from Czech Republic. Yeah,
they are from Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I actually met them there.
Yeah, just like Nutra and Extra Fit, they're all from Czech Republic.
Amex never really did, like, even since like 2015, they never did anything new. They never launched anything. They never, like, they just pretty much rested on Dennis Wolf, and then he disappears, and then they were left with
after that, they basically like stopped like producing anything new and releasing anything new stuff. So yeah, this basically ended there. With this cooperation with Dennis Wolf, I think that the brand just basically like.
But based on what I saw, I mean, I don't know, and you know this better than I do. But I remember looking at them when Dennis was with them. To be honest, the products, at least from what I remember, were nothing super impressive. The packaging was nice, I remember, and they relied a lot on Dennis Wolf. But the products were average, I think.
They weren't like anything special. You know? They just basically were regulated due to European regulations, and this is basically it. You know, they were still based on like simple stuff like arginine, creatine, those kind of things, but they were nothing, no exotic stuff, no kind of like fancy shit, those kinds of things. So,
I do want to go to that New Trend World in Czech Republic. I don't know if anyone's. I know Lukasz has heard of it. The New Trend World. It's pretty much. They opened it like what? I don't know how many years ago. It's pretty much what Christian Guzman's doing now, but they did it like years ago. Yeah. It's a hotel with a like fucking boss ass high performance gym, restaurant, like for fit foods, supplement stores, and it's all owned by the supplement company.
It's basically everything what's like.
It's like destination kind of fitness in Czech Republic.
Yeah, for sure, man.
It's not expensive, but it's like it's not. I'm pretty sure it's not in one of the cities I'd been to, but it definitely looks like a place just to see. I mean, I don't know any supplement company that does that.
Well, Czech Republic is not that expensive, so that's
yeah.
Thing, So yeah, man. But I'm sure it's wild down there. So yeah, man.
Oh yeah, I've seen the pictures
with the shops and everything. So yeah, man.
Do you think there's a place in the market for that to, I guess, expand globally for other supplement companies to do something similar, or is the cost for undertaking that venture so enormous that maybe only the likes of like a Glanbia, Optimum, one of those Muscle Tech, one of those kind of companies could pull it off?
I think Nutrient just proves that you don't need to have like $1 bajillion to do it. I mean, I just think it's just something to do. It's probably not going to give you a good return. I mean, but it's probably just something to be like, bruh, look what I got. I mean, not many companies, supplement companies, have a hotel named after them or owned by them.
Right.
I will give you Robert's like quick example. Olymp.
They could do it.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. If you could saw their laboratory and everything, you would be like amazed how big they are. And basically, when I hear sometimes like brands in US, they don't even know about Olymp and everything, and in Europe they're enormous. They're huge.
Yeah.
I would put Olymp up there with like, I mean, I don't know their numbers, but I would say based on their size and what their operation is, I would put them in like, I don't know, top 10, 20 in the world that I know of in terms of size. And they're all in the middle of bloody, and they're in the south side of Krakow. They're like, you wouldn't think much, but that place that they had, like that building was the size of Iovate's when I went to it. And it's like they had two of them.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. All right. Let's move to today's main event topic.
Question, though?
Say it again, TJ.
I wanted to ask a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, Lukasz, tell me, in Eastern Europe, generally speaking, can you explain this phenomena that when you walk in the street, all the women under 25 look like fucking models, and then they're all old? Like, there's literally nothing in between. There's 22 years old models and old women. What the fuck are you doing with everyone between 25 and 60? Where are they going? Like, seriously, I go in Prague. I mean, Shane, you travel, right? You go in Prague. Amazing. Everyone looks like it looks like a catwalk. And then old women. There's nothing in between. Where are they?
See, I think it changes. I think that yes, in some countries it's like that, but then the further east you get, it does change.
No,
I
but
will
the
say
Czech Republic, I agree with you.
in the middle, yeah. See what you mean. But then, see, my wife says the same thing. My wife's Chinese, New Zealand, and she says the same thing. Like, Asian people traditionally, they either look really young,
Right.
and they sustain that, and then like they almost hit an age, and then they're automatically 60 for the rest of their life.
They're
Yeah,
old.
yeah. So I actually think, TJ, I think it's the other way around.
Huh.
Why is everyone else outside of Eastern Europe and Asia just so fucking old?
Yeah, we're-
Why do we? Because I never look 25.
That's true. No, that's true.
I think
It's a
we're
good
doing
point,
something
yeah.
wrong.
So
doing
but there's no, like, so you're saying you don't have the scientific reason behind it, and they don't just go away. You're not keeping the 30 to 70 years old women in some cages or something like that.
I think
No,
a 40-year-old woman can look 25,
Okay.
and then a 41-year-old woman can look 60.
Okay,
TJ, I
thank
wish
you
I
for,
could know
clarifying.
the answer. Seriously, I wish I could know the answer.
It's the pierogi. It's the
Yeah.
snakes.
This was
Probably,
sitting
yeah.
on me, so I wanted to share. It was
All
really
the
annoying.
secret Soviet chemicals, they're still sneaking across from the Iron Curtain.
So that Nutra and
Phenibut.
exactly.
All the good stuff that's banned over here now.
Yeah.
Okay. Clear.
All right,
Thank you.
gentlemen, let's go to the main event for this week's discussion. We have assembled a list of topics that TJ was kind enough, and so each week we're gonna go through one or two of these as kind of like the main course of our banter. So for today, we'll choose between one of two topics, and we can do a vote if you'd like. We could do fat burners really work, and why do similar products feel different? And by that, I mean, most of the pre-workouts these days all have the same thing. It's 6 grams of citrulline, 2 grams of betaine, 3 grams of beta-alanine, and there is somewhere in the ballpark of 300 to 325 milligrams of caffeine, and that's about it. So why is it that you could take two exact products that are relatively similar, but from two different companies, and why do they feel differently? Why do you have two different reactions to them? So we can do that, or we can do fat burners question.
Big boss, your call.
Yeah, either one. We can do one today and one next week. Doesn't matter. You pick.
All right, let's do the fat burners question then. Let's do that.
Mhm.
All right, so Robbie, do fat burners work? Yes or no? You sell a fat burner, so do they work?
No.
Yes.
No, they don't. They don't. And the reason is because people rely on them. People rely on them, and they think that they're going to produce some kind of a magic. And it's. I think it's very, very complex answer, because at the end of the day, even bodybuilders getting ready for a show, and I'm using bodybuilders because the body fat percentage required is obviously extremely low. The diets are spot on. I mean, the diets are absolutely perfect. They dieting for weeks, months at the time. Then on top of it, they're doing an hour, 2 hours, sometimes up to 3 hours of cardio. It depends on the person. And then on top of it, you have the fat burners. Most of the fat burners on the market are, of course, absolute junk, and you know it, because most of them are just. I saw recently, I think, a fat burner that was just caffeine, DMAA, and some other stimulant. I mean, it looked more like an energy and a pre-workout than anything else. So. It's about, I feel it. What the fuck do you feel? All you feel is just a burst of energy, which is kind of important when you're dieting, because everybody is like so super tired and everybody is exhausted when your carbs are pretty much down to nothing. and you're doing shitload of cardio, you need those stimulants to help you kind of like get by throughout the day. The fat burners, I don't believe that there is such thing as necessarily as a fat burner, because the original fat burner, which was ECA, ephedrine, caffeine, and aspirin, that clearly worked. I mean, that was scientifically proven to work. That was something that was never duplicated. And even though everybody is talking about Oxy Elite, in my opinion, Oxy Elite was just DMAA. I mean, nobody was talking about Oxy Elite as a fat burner, because how many people have lost weight on Oxy Elite? I mean, it was nothing special when it comes to fat loss. It was still kind of like an energy pill more than anything. To get any benefits from, and I do think that, since we talked about that I have a fat burner, you can take Chaos all you want, and not only can you get fat, you can get obese on it. Why? Because if you neglect the whole point of dieting and you neglect the whole point of doing cardio, that shit's not going to help you. I think that, when I used to do diets for people, when I used to write programs for people, I would start them off on just cleaning up their diet. There were no fat burners, nothing was involved at all. I believe if you clean up your diet and you're eating a little clean, the fat loss process will begin. Then you can add a little bit of cardio to it. I think I used to add fat burners maybe week 4 or 5 or 6, just to give it that extra push. Obviously, when you take Chaos and it has so much thermogenics in it, you will feel heat. You will obviously sweat. So it will help you with fat loss, no doubt. But will you burn crazy amount of fats? No. I mean, you still have to diet. So when people say, it pisses me off when, there are ads for fat burners that go, oh, you're going to get shredded on this shit. This is the best fat burner ever. This is the best thermogenic ever. It might be. I'm not disputing that fact that it might be great ingredients and might be great dosages and everything might work. But the fact is, unfortunately, there is still no miracle pill. In bodybuilding and in fitness community, the use of, I don't know how everybody's familiar with the thyroid hormone Cytomel, which is T3. Now, that's a miracle drug. Without a doubt, I have experienced using it myself in the past. And yes, you can have carbohydrates, you can even cheat on your diet, and you will 100% lose weight. There is no doubt about it. Why? Because your metabolism is ramped up through the roof. I mean, you cannot keep the calories inside of you. But believe it or not, even bodybuilders that use T3, Cytomel, the thyroid hormone, they still diet. They don't rely on it. The only reason, okay, I'm going to use T3, I can eat whatever the fuck I want. There is another compound which is obviously banned called DNP. I don't know if anyone is familiar with it, which is dinotrophenol. Yeah, you can eat. In fact, if you eat more carbs, which creates heat in your body because it gives you energy, you will melt, like literally melt. The side effects are obviously extreme, and yes, you can die. Unfortunately, I'll admit I have used it once, and I said never again, because I think I came close to dying. That was just something very, very stupid. Unfortunately, I have used it. So we're talking about miracle pills that do help to lose weight and burn fat. Then DNP and T3, without a doubt, will help you shed the extra weight without extreme dieting, without extreme cardio. In fact, I think on DNP, you would be smart not doing cardio at all, because you don't want to overheat your body as is, and your energy level, you feel drained all the time. And going back to fat burners, right now we cannot use ephedrine. And that's why when I see ephedra verdis, or whatever the fuck it's called, that has absolutely no ephedra alkaloids in it, that has absolutely no ephedrine in it, it's just a name without any substance, it pisses me off, because people think that there is ephedra in the product, which actually doesn't exist. But, there are definitely some great ingredients to make a great fat burner, like capsaicin, Capsimex, definitely works. Grains of Paradise definitely works. GBB definitely works. Putting all those compounds together, you're going to create a very nice thermogenic environment. But to go out and claim that that's all you need to get shredded, I think it's very misleading. So I would hesitate. In fact, I don't know if you paid attention every time we advertise Chaos. I always make sure that we put there, this has to be done in conjunction with a diet plan and exercise and cardio, because I'm not going to take on myself, that responsibility, misleading people and saying, and again, I do think that chaos right now is the best when it comes to ingredients and how it's put together, but will it create the environment of fat burning to such extent where you're going to be shredded and you can go and have pizza and pasta? Then yeah, obviously it doesn't work. I think it should be as a finishing touch-up bonus, so to speak, to a clean diet. And you do have to suffer, because if it was easy, we would have everybody walking with a six-pack. It's not that easy. So I also think genetics play a huge part as well, because unfortunately, some of us we're not blessed with the best genetics. And we can also take into account such thing as testosterone and estrogen, and I mean, it all comes together. It's inevitable. So to say that a fat burner, like, we know that a good pre-workout definitely works. Why? Because the way it's put together, you can be overweight, or you can be skinny, or you can be shredded. A good pre-workout will definitely give you what you need. It will give you a kick in the ass. It will give you a pump if it has the right ingredients and the right combination. So yes, 100% it will work. But to say that the fat burner will work and you're going to get shredded, there are too many ifs and too many, conditions to meet those requirements. But if everything put together in a formula right, and then you add a very good fat burner that actually has the right ingredients, yes, it will help. But to say that a fat burner actually works, while saying that you don't need to do anything, just take a pill, it's a miracle pill, and all of a sudden you're going to get shredded, then obviously the answer is no.
Somebody that has a fighting background, so you brought up the link between fat burners, weight loss, and bodybuilding. And, typically when we're reviewing these supplements, we always think of them in the context of bodybuilding because, let's face it, the bodybuilding industry is basically what launched the sports nutrition industry to a large part, or helped get it to the level it is today. But you're somebody that's fought, in competitive MMA around the world. What, if any, use did you see with fat burners and MMA athletes? Do they use them a lot? As far as trying to make weight cuts and things?
They do use them, but they have to be extremely careful. I never fought in UFC, MMA. I mean, my sport is mostly Muay Thai, kickboxing. However, in MMA, specifically UFC, specifically Bellator, those higher up there organizations, they do have a USADA testing, which is basically they test you for banned substances. Now, banned substances are not necessarily FDA banned substances. Banned substances is whatever they think is banned, whatever they decide to ban. So, if tomorrow USADA decides to ban protein powder, then it's banned. That's it. That means it's not allowed. Now, if you take most of the fat burners, so to speak, on the market, if they have such thing as alpha yohimbe, that's it, you're fucked, because it's a banned substance. So an athlete, a combat athlete, has to be extremely cautious as to what he's using. Perfect example would be Yoel Romero. Yoel Romero, a UFC fighter in the middleweight division, actually a title contender, one of the best there is. 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, he failed a drug test. He failed a drug test for a SARM, ibutamoren, which is MK. He failed a drug test, and they immediately suspended him for, I believe, 2 years. He was swearing, and it didn't help the case that the guy looks absolutely jacked. I mean, he has phenomenal genetics, and he looks like he's on steroids. He never failed a drug test when it comes to steroids, even though he was always accused of it. So now when he failed the drug test for ibutamoren, everybody was saying, well, finally, he got busted. The guy was swearing, I've never used anything. I just used a product from a supplement store. He says, all I used was a fat burner. I wanted to get in shape. Plus, he's a very big guy. So for him to cut weight to 185 when he walks around, I believe, like 210 or 215 is a bit of a challenge. Long story short, the product that he was using was made by the company called Gold Star. Gold Star made a product that allegedly contained, it was a proprietary blend, and he hired lawyers, and there was an investigation. So USADA went to a couple of stores and they bought the product and they tested them. And guess what? They did contain an illegal substance called ibutamoren. So he was vindicated. He sued Gold Star for millions and millions of dollars. He won the case. Gold Star disappeared. Somehow they still sell their products, which I don't know how they're still around. But they did lose the case. And, a combat athlete has to be extremely careful because most of the not most of the products, but certain products on the market they cannot use. One of our athletes is Corey Anderson, who is a top 5 light heavyweight in the UFC, and he's been with Apollon for the past I think 3 years now. So all our products, I make sure that they made in FDA GMP facilities and all that. So as soon as DMA was banned, I made sure that we don't have DMA in our assassin. So Corey relies on me a lot in terms of to give him advice. So I told him, I said, listen, assassin, for example, assassin has alpha yohimbe, assassin has area genesis. All of those products, all those ingredients are actually banned by USADA. So I told him, you cannot use assassin. You cannot use overtime. It's funny because ironically his nickname is Corey Overtime Anderson, but he cannot use the product called overtime because of the same ingredients. So athletes have to be extremely cautious, especially combat athletes that are getting tested, because unfortunately, even if the product's so-called legal, that does not mean that it's legal for him to use in terms of the testing agency.
All right, there's two things I'm going to build off of that. So first off, Gold Star. I have tried several of their products over the years. They were one of the first ones that I tried. Gold Star Triple X was their pre-workout that had DMHA in it. I kind of wonder what else is in there now that you brought up the SARM that was in one of their fat burners. I wonder what their pre-workout was also laced with, if anything. I'm not saying that it was, but if there's smoke, there's fire. So I'm curious. I still have an old tub of it, I think. Somewhere it's probably long since expired now.
Or something.
Yeah. And then Robbie, since based off of that, all right, so you're a competitive athlete, you have athletes at Apollon that are drug tested and all that. Where does the onus fall? Is it on the athlete to know what is in their products, or if a supplement company contains an ingredient that is banned by WADA, by USADA, or some other drug testing agency, is it on the supplement company to make that clearly known? So if it contains hygenamine or synephrine, octopamine, oridrans, any of these banned compounds, is the onus fall on the supplement company to make that clear to all drug tested athletes, or is it the athlete's responsibility to know what the fuck they're putting in their body?
I think it definitely, first of all, falls on the athlete and his managers and everybody else to protect them and to protect their legacy and to protect their reputation. So, an athlete cannot just, put whatever he feels like into his body just because it's going to produce certain results. However, I think from a moral point of view, from a moral standpoint, it would absolutely crush me if anyone use the product that we manufacture, that we make, and we would fail a drug test. Obviously, if it was something that, an athlete that is drug tested would come and say I want to use this, and this. I still think that there is a moral responsibility to the athlete. And I think that, as a company owner or manager or somebody who is in charge, I think you should know those things. I mean, it's very hard because there are so many different organizations such as WADA and USADA, and they all come up with different lists. So most of the time when I deal with a combat athlete, I always ask them, are you drug tested? Because I don't know what organization he's fighting for. And if they say yes, again, I don't know every organization's fucking banned list because I'm not that good. I always ask them, can you please ask the testing body to submit the list of prohibited substances so at least I can check. So that's at least what I've been doing. I don't want to put unnecessary pressure on everybody else that they have to do it, because let's face it, these guys are getting into a cage or into a ring and getting fucking beaten to a pulp, or or trying to kill somebody. So at least take into consideration that this is your career on the line, and at the end of the day, if you're going to school, it's your responsibility to do your homework. It's your responsibility to make sure you didn't forget your books and stuff like that, because you're an adult. I cannot babysit you and I cannot hold your hand. But at the same time, if I can help, then yes, I mean, it makes me feel good. We were coming up with overtime, and I remember I called Corey Anderson. I said, you know what? I think that this product, the cool name would be overtime, because that's exactly what it does. And he goes to me, oh, great. He says, I can't wait to try it. I said, well, there is a problem. I don't think you'll be able to, because it has some of the same ingredients from Assassin. I'm pretty sure they banned. And that's it. I mean, it's not that hard. And again, we do supplements. That's our job. They do fighting. That's their job. So for him to know each and every ingredient, I don't think it's on him. He's not a physique athlete. He's not a coach. He's not a nutritionist. He's a fighter. His job is to fight. And I think his manager's job is to make sure that he gets the right contract and gets paid well. That's what the manager is there for. His coach has to see his flaws and make sure that he works on those flaws, and to see his strengths and weaknesses and bring the best out of him. And if a supplement brand represents, or he represents the supplement brand, that means we are a team. We work together. And I don't think it's too complicated for me to look into what's banned and what's not, and to make sure that, I don't embarrass myself and I don't embarrass him. And at the end of the day, he doesn't lose 2 years out of his life in his prime, and he's suspended and he's losing money, for the next couple of years. So I think there is definitely responsibility on both parties, athletes foremost, but at the same time, from a moral standpoint, and to protect your company and to protect your legacy, and to make sure that, especially I think it would be very, very embarrassing for a fully transparent company if the athlete failed the drug test coming not from, I don't know, testosterone and nandrolone and whatever, but it actually would come from tainted supplements that this company is producing. That would be horrible.
TJ, as somebody that does a ton of supplement reviews, do fat burners work, and how do you assess whether they quote unquote work for the review process, and whether you recommend them to your viewers?
Yeah, I mentioned that in my reviews all the time, that I think, what I think happened? The category started probably as something called fat loss aids. And at some point, someone started calling this shit fat burners. And that is so confusing, because fat burning, seriously, that doesn't make any sense. It's a fat loss aid. So I think some of these things, and I mention that in my reviews all the time, because people, not all people, but a lot of people are seriously brainless, and they think that they can take this stuff and like Robert said, have a pizza, and and then I'll take, but I took the fat loss, the fat burner. I'm gonna, bullshit, right? So I think as a fat loss aid, yes, I think they work. Now, what do you need as an aid when you do fat loss? So I think appetite suppression, number one for me. I always say that in my reviews. There's nothing legal that can burn more calories than I can fucking eat. Nothing. So in one sitting, by the way, in 10 minutes, I can eat more calories in 10 minutes than any fat burner on hell can burn. So appetite suppression, number one. And are there fat burners I use or fat loss aids I use that actually help with appetite suppression? Yeah. And a lot of the times it's a combination of stimulants, to be honest. Based on my experience, it's a combination of stimulants. It's not any magic appetite suppression ingredient, patented, trademark bullshit. It's a bunch of stimulants that get you to the point that you just don't want to eat. That's it. So appetite suppression, yes. I think that there's another element, which is mood elevation and energy. If in your fat loss journey, you need help in keeping your energy up and stop being a bitch, then yeah, some of them help you. They're anti-bitch. They're not fat burners. They're just anti-bitch mode, and you're going to be less of a bitch. So I think that, and energy, right? You're going to be less tired because, so that these three areas. Now, the other element that you theoretically look for is actually the fat burning or fat metabolism stuff. I think that's the less effective one. Like, to be honest, I think we're selling, and at most 99% of the fat burners have stuff like that there, right? Like, research shows that you burn more calories. We made so much shit of this research stuff. And like, seriously, you're going to get, in a good day, if the sun is shining and the world is beautiful, what, 100 more calories burned because of thermogenesis and whatever? It's bullshit. You have one slice of bread and that thermogenesis effect is bullshit. And people like to feel the sweats with whatever, grains of paradise and stuff like that. I know the research. I actually read it. Dude, minimal effect. It's not going to do anything. I'll tell you what it does do. If you're uncomfortable because you're sweating like fuck, you don't really want to eat. So that's actually, that's probably a side effect, which is appetite suppression. So do fat burners work? Bullshit. No. I mean, they probably have some effect, but it's so minimal. The burning, it's totally not relevant. I wouldn't spend a dime on the burning side. Okay? And this is one of these things where you have to believe the science also, right? Like you take this thing and you say, oh shit, I really hope that fat metabolism thing is working right now. Like I can feel my fat cells moving from right to left. I don't know what that even means. But as a fat loss aid, yeah, for sure, right? So Robert gave an example of prescription level illegal stuff for burning, right? I get that because it increases your metabolic rate. Boom. Okay. Nothing legal that I've tried or that I've seen research for. Nothing legal actually does that. So
well, yes and no, because the thing is like, they did an actual study on, say, for example, ephedrine, like real ephedrine, caffeine, and it is illegal, but the funny thing is like if you look at it, and you're right, I actually like the word fat loss aid. I do think that thermogenics work. I do think that you need stamps. They won't burn fat, but they will help you. But not for that reason specifically. It will help you because if you actually dieting, like really, really, really dieting, and you're doing a lot of cardio, serious cardio, you're actually working hard, your energy level will be a mess. I always said that
it's exactly what I said. It's not about burning the extra calories.
No, I said this all the time in every seminar that I've done, is that if you are happy and you have energy while dieting, that means you're not dieting. So the stimulants definitely help to get you through that energy barrier, which will help you also work harder. In essence, you will also get.
That's what I'm saying. Right? I'm saying.
But the interesting thing is, and this is something that I forgot to mention, the three main things that athletes used throughout decades was the ECA, clenbuterol, and thyroid. Thyroid meaning T3, cytomel, whatever you want to call it. So the interesting thing is that clenbuterol, which is extremely popular, and ECA raise your metabolic rate by only a few percent. Literally by a few percent. If I'm not mistaken, it was somewhere between 2 to 5%. It's really, really insignificant. So what TJ said, a fat loss aid, that's exactly what it is. It aids to help your fat loss program if you are actually dedicated. Now, if you take, of course, thyroid or cytomel, I mean, your metabolic rate goes by like 50%. But it's a prescription. It's also dangerous because you can mess up your natural thyroid production too. So I think that it's absolutely true. And I think we should actually change the name from a fat loss to a fat loss aid.
I'm not watching my reviews. I've been saying it for like 2 years. You need to pay more attention. But seriously, this is it. And I think, but here's the point. I just want to wrap this thing up and we can move to someone else. But So it's a fat loss aid. It helps with the journey. Yes, increased energy, mood elevation. If you get if I buy a product, it's appetite suppression. That's number one. And then mood elevation and energy, and then fat metabolism. I don't give a shit. But with that said, right? If you go and you tell people that, hey, listen, you know what? This thing has some stuff in it that if you work hard, it's gonna burn 70 more calories during the day. People will pay.
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. It's like 70 fucking calories, right? Like it's a glass of milk. But people will pay. Why? They say, okay, you know what? I'll take it. I'll take whatever I can. And I agree with what Robert just said. They're confusing between the fact that these 70 calories actually make a difference when you're really, really, really dieting, and when you're just Joe Schmo trying to lose a couple of pounds. These 70 calories don't make any difference. So I would say I'll take the 70 calories, 50 calories by increased thermogenesis and whatever fat metabolism and mobilizing fat cells to somewhere up your ass. I'll take it. I just don't think it makes a big difference. So that's it. Fat loss aids, yes, work. That's it. I'm done. I'm done with you people.
Shane, what about you? Do they work, and then how do you cover them from a news standpoint in a tactful and not unscrupulous manner?
I think I think TJ's right. He's like exactly what he said. Fat burners, but I've never had that misconception personally. I've never taken I don't take a pre-workout and think that I'm gonna get stronger if I don't fucking do anything, or I'm not gonna take a protein powder and feel more recovered if I don't do anything. I've always assumed that you have to. I've always taken the stance that you have to be working as hard as a bodybuilder, not as hard, but on that level to get the best results out of anything. That was always my perception. So if you're not dieting, you're not even in the game of you seeing the results of a fat burner. Same as if you took a recovery supplement or an amino, you're probably not going to notice the recovery that great if you aren't training 120%, right? Like throwing yourself at the wall and just destroying your body. If you do that, then you'd probably notice a recovery supplement if it helped 0.5%. So fat burners for me, when I take them, I make sure I'm dieting. I make sure I'm not cutting any corners, and I notice I've never felt like they burn fat. I've always felt like they accelerated the process. 1% every day saves you 4 days over the year. So I mean, that's as an athlete back when I was a competitive swimmer. I mean, shit, 1% in a race is fucking difference between first and fifth probably. So I mean, it's a percentage. It's small. But I think, they aid, they support. They don't do it, they support, just like every single other supplement. No other supplement will do anything for you unless you aren't doing the baseline training and eating. And so, for me, that's exactly what TJ said. I think they work, but you have to understand that the requirement is you actually have to be doing the diet. It'll speed up the process, but you actually have to be doing that process. Otherwise, I mean, you just get caffeine.
Yeah. When you're creating a top 5 list or something recommending your favorite fat burners or fat weight loss support supplements, how do you go about quantifying, are you basing it mostly off the energy that it gives, the mood? Because I mean, I guess you would have to be very, very diligent in your tracking to see, did this one actually help you lose weight faster? Because your diet and training would basically have to be the same as it was every other time you've dieted when you're using, a different thermo aid. So, I guess what do you do about that when you're ranking them?
Pretty much that I never rank them based on formula. I only rank them based on after I've used them for 2 months. I'm starting one on tomorrow. I got a stack I'm going to use, but that's only because the stack's helped me before, not because it's a new one that I'm actually going to review. But I rely on the results. Let's just say I typically would lose a pound a week, maybe 2 pounds if I work real hard. Let's just say I lose 2 pounds every week for 4 weeks. I would assume that it's a supplement definitely helping me out, because typically I would only lose 1. Depending on the weight I'm coming down, obviously, is a percentage factor. But if I notice something that's out of the ordinary, out of the normal, because my training is pretty much flat, stays the same. My diet may change, and I know I'm familiar with how my diet can drop my weight.
Mm-hmm.
It's those fluctuations. If I see like something, I'm like, if you win lotto 2 weeks in a row, something's a little bit strange, right?
Right.
So like, I mean, if I'm hitting like weight loss faster than I expected, than what I expected then that's to me.
Yeah.
It's the same if I, if I wake up the next morning and I'm not sore and I literally smoked my best deadlift and squat the day before, and I took a recovery supplement, like I would attribute the better recovery to that, because I know what it feels like, the next day after you've smoked yourself. You should be hurting. You should be aching. But yeah.
And I guess this is going to get into the weeds a little bit, but do you think that the accelerated weight loss that you may get from the supplement, do you think that is more in part due to enhanced fat metabolism, or do you think it's more a byproduct of it's just increasing your movement throughout the day, so you're getting a greater overall energy expenditure, so you're maybe taking more steps, or you're just more active throughout the day?
Yeah, I would have it would be fucking impossible to figure out where it comes from. I mean, but that's the same thing as like if you ask someone, at the end of the day, if you take this, it'll help you lose weight. And if you said to them, you take this, but it's only going to help you lose weight in this area, I don't think many people would really care. I think it's just going to be about, does it actually help overall? Like I couldn't figure out if it's the metabolism or the thermogenesis or anything like that. I mean, the energy does help, but I would still be doing the same amount of cardio with the fat burner as without. I wouldn't really do anything more. I do get sweatier when I take them, but that's about it.
Okay. Lukasz, what about you? Do you think they work in your own personal experience? And then when you're bringing them into the as a distributor, what do you look for in a fat burner that you may think appeal to the customer? And how do y'all go about marketing them?
You know what? There is this nice quote that I really like: "Nothing works unless you do." And I think it's pretty much what explains how's everything and how the supplements and everything work. In my opinion, if you don't do shit, nothing will do that for you. And it comes down to basically everything: your work, your exercise, and your supplements and diet and everything. So that's what TJ and Shane said, and even Bobby about the supplements. These are just the aids, so they can help you with your journey. But as far as like everything else, you need to do the hard stuff. You need to exercise. You need to move your ass every day. You need to like do your stuff. Keep on track with your macros, with your diet, and everything. When I was like chubby little bastard, when I was like 17, 18 years old, and I was like fucking super heavy as weight, and I was weighing like 120 kilograms. I could take like tons of like fat burners and all kinds of shit, but nothing would help me. I lost weight due to my work ethic, due to my hard work, and basically I was like every day I was moving my ass on the basketball court. I was like running tons of stuff and I was training hard, and that's how I lost my weight. And basically, fat burners didn't help me back in the days, and even now when I'm trying to lose some pounds, I still like first of all focus on my training regime, focus on my diet, and then after quite some time, if I see like a plateau or like or I'm not seeing any progress with my weight loss, then I can implement some fat burner just to like help me with my, for example, appetite control, those kind of things, But as far as like, magic stuff, I don't believe that kind of shit, As TJ said, stuff like, for example, that can help you with your appetite control. I think that's a perfect explanation to fat aid, fat burner, those kind of things, As far as distribution, it all comes down to client preferences and everything. We see these trends that some people like the heavy steam stuff, but nowadays it's more like carnitine, those kind of things, But yeah, nothing super fancy. So that's my stand as far as like the fat burners and everything. But personally, I'm a fan of some ingredients, especially yahini, those kind of things. These are of course banned in Europe. So everything that's pretty cool is always banned. But some ingredients show some promises, effects as far as the human body. I'm a huge fan of betaine. And personally, I saw lots of research as far as body composition. So there is something that I think that can be implemented into diet and everything. But yeah,
do we have a shot of this chubby little bastard? Can we like see what Lukasz used to look like?
And I love the way you say chubby little bastard too, Lukasz. That makes me smile.
Chubby little bastard, yeah. This is how I always refer to myself when I was like 17, 18 years old. Yeah.
I can't imagine a chubby
Lukasz. Name this shit like CLB. I like it.
I need to change my name to Lukasz the chubby little bastard.
I like it. CLB. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Shane. This is the point in the show where you get to do the fast five. We'll do the quick hit segment. So I hope you came prepared.
I came mildly prepared.
That's what I'm talking about.
When I woke up, I was like, "Oh shit, that's right."
Rapid, right? Rapid.
Yeah, rapid fire.
So I mean, was this the news part where I get an individual specific?
Shit, and we have 2 minutes.
I'm gonna go with TJ, and I don't know if you saw this, TJ, but bodybuilding.com came out with their remix. The bodybuilding.com's brand. It's a collab brand, so they're doing. As far as I know, it's collabs only for now. They're doing more with Hostess, but they also mentioned that they're teaming up with other companies, so it's not just going to be the Hostess family brands.
Right.
I thought it was great, but I mean, go ahead, TJ. What's your thoughts on it?
Actually, I was impressed. To be honest, I think
there we go.
Yeah, god damn it! I think for the bodybuilding signature line, the stuff that they did was very uneventful. Some of the products were really good, like the protein was good and the bars were good, but it was very hard to differentiate in this space. And I think for them, where they stand right now, differentiation is really important. So they still carry weight, they still carry good volume. It's obviously they're in a challenging environment. It was a very good move because they're more of a bodybuilding.com today is more mass market, right? Like this is where you go. The sort of all these niche brands got not niche brands, like niche sites got all the exciting stuff, the dark, gray market shit. And bodybuilding is where you're supposed to go if you're just a general fitness enthusiast. Is that the right way to say it?
Yeah. Enthusiast. Yeah.
My fucking immigrant ass couldn't get it. So there's, but I think so that it looks good. I like the Hostess thing. I like the way that they
$30 a tub too. It's not expensive.
The package looks good. I think that I didn't try it yet. By the way, it's on its way. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, they said they sent me some.
Yeah, but I think it's a very good move. Listen, for them, I think it's a very good move for them.
I thought it was also cool that
noise and attention.
It's all about collabs as well.
It was a silent project, right? It wasn't,
It didn't say anything. Just launch it. Yeah. By the way, speaking of, I think the launch sucks. The launch process totally sucks. Like they fucked it up.
You think it should be more hyped?
It wasn't hyped at all. Like they didn't even reach like they brought it out and then they announced it. And then you don't see it on they didn't reach out to influencers. It was nowhere. They just put it on the fucking site.
They just put it on the site, and then that morning,
me, you retards.
That morning, I didn't even look on the site, but they emailed me must have been when they put it up. I was like, "Hey, we wanted to give you the reveal," and I'm like, I'm not revealing anything. You put it on your site. You can buy it.
There's no reveal, and they didn't reach out. I'm telling you, they didn't reach out. They didn't do anything. Like seriously, we're doing something like that.
I was curious about this kind of thing, and I'm not familiar with it. But the collabs, I don't know if you noticed this, but Ghost did very similar with Chips Ahoy and like Nutter Butter, they reveal them quite fast. Like within a week, they'll tease and then they launch. I was always just curious. I've noticed that with all of the collabs, like they just tend to just drop them really quick. Like Ghost, I think was.
But Ghost created noise around it. No, but that's I agree with you. It was they waited till the launch, and that's totally fine. I would do the same probably. Maybe there's some limitations, but seriously, to do something like that, which is the most exciting thing bodybuilding did in the last 3 years. Just literally fucking just put it on the site.
Yeah, they definitely.
Or maybe I saw it on your site, Chen. Like it is so stupid from a marketing perspective. It's such a loss of opportunity. It's insane. So yeah, so I think it's a good idea. It's a very, and I didn't try the product, so I can't attest to that yet. But as far as go-to-market execution, 0 out of 10.
But you love the product.
I don't know. I didn't try it. I love the concept. I would do it.
I think it's cool. I think it's cool because they got more coming. Like it's going to be collabs. That's it. That's apparently what they seem.
Wouldn't you make noise out of it? Wouldn't you utilize this opportunity to say, "Hey, I'm bodybuilding. I can pull this shit. I can do this stuff. You should come to me because this is where the collab shit happens." No, I have another idea. Let's just put it on a fucking page on the site and let's see what happens. So stupid. Like seriously, I mean, literally, someone should get fired.
Maybe all the contracts and everything just came in like that morning. They're like, "Shit, we got to get done. Stocks here."
Someone a couple of us.
Yeah. Maybe they had made it, produced it, and only just signed the forms that morning, and they're like, "Well, fuck it. This is all turned to shit."
So retarded. Really.
Okay.
Done. Yeah. Good topic.
So this one's for Robic. Layne Norton is coming out with a brand again. If you remember his brand back in the day, it was Carbon by Layne Norton. It was a bodybuilding.com exclusive, if I remember correctly. Started out with a pre and a recovery, then he did a protein. It was eventually discontinued, I think 2 years later. So he's coming back out with a new brand. As far as I'm pretty sure it's direct to consumer, not bodybuilding.com. Same kind of concept. Yeah, Outwork Nutrition. So Robic, what is Layne's a trusted, reliable name. He gave it one go back in the day. What's your thoughts on him going at it again? Same categories right out of the gate, pre-workout and recovery as well.
You know what? I mean, I don't know him personally, only obviously from what I've seen, on a previous launch and stuff. I think he had solid products. He definitely is well respected. And I think it's great. I mean, the only thing I disagree is when I see those gaps. I think that, when you have a momentum, you should carry on. I mean, obviously there is demand, or at least he thinks that his name, carries enough to launch again. I would rather not see him disappear and have a certain gap between the two launches, so to speak.
But it's 2 years since he discontinued. Maybe
I think 2 or 3 years. Yeah. It is 2 years, right? It is 2 years.
Yeah, 2017 is when it went away. The dinosaurs.
So 3. Damn.
I think that you have. He obviously has a following. He obviously has respect by many, and I think him coming back is a great thing. There are lots of people that are making comebacks, whether to sport or supplement industry, that I'd rather not see at all. But I think it's a very welcome thing, and I wish him personally a lot of luck. And if it's anything like 2 years ago, I don't think how it can go wrong. I think that's great.
Because that was the thing, was that I mean, if I remember correctly, he mentioned he stopped his Carbon line due to sales performance. Mm-hmm. That was the main reason he said it was discontinued. So what do you think? I mean, this is not a time to be. I mean, this is a tough time to be starting a brand.
It's not a good time to launch. I wanted to say that. I don't care who you are. I wouldn't launch a brand now.
Well, he's launching in 2 weeks, I think. So it's not exactly now.
No, I mean
great
not
time.
now. Not meaning today, Saturday, Shane. I mean,
Yeah,
like
but
in
at the same time,
virus-infected world.
at the same time, he does have a name. So I think, yeah, launching right now is very, very risky for anyone. At the same time, we can see that there are some brands who are doing rather well considering the time and considering how everything is going. I actually talked to somebody, I talked to TJ. I talked to TJ yesterday, and I said that I think that Apollon is doing now better than ever. Specifically, I think we had a dip in March, and right now it's been nothing but like upwards, and we're doing better and better and better. So I think that there are also other companies, other brands that I see. Some are doing great, some are doing not so great. I mean, majority are not doing so great because obviously there was a dip and a lot of gyms are closed around the country. I know here in New Jersey and New York, the gyms are probably not going to reopen for a very long time. But, people always adjust, and people still work out. People still go to the gym, whether it's like, quietly, their friends open the gyms for them, or they work out in the basement, or they work out outside. So I think that there is still, the sales are consistent for some of the brands that are doing,
But a new brand. Listen, a new brand.
A new brand is going to be risky to launch, but you have to agree he does have a name.
Well, I mean, his last one.
I don't know him
Again, his last one was discontinued the sales performance. That was the trick, though.
Well, he came out and said when he discontinued it, he said that he rested on his laurels basically as far as hyping the brand. He got really busy with the diet and nutrition coaching at that aspect. And he relied too much on bodybuilding.com to move the product. And he said that was a mistake on my fault. There's a few interviews, and I believe there's some on the Layne channel where he admitted, he said, I shit the bed on this. I should have taken more ownership of my brand, and I didn't. And that's why it failed ultimately.
But think about it, I don't know how big he's going to go. He's going to go, like Shane said, he's going to go direct to consumer, right? Direct to consumer, considering his following and considering how many people he does diets and training and whatnot. I mean, it's going to be an easy sell for him to, at least to his followers.
It's not a big risk.
Maybe he's releasing, I don't know, like 500 units per flavor or something like that. Maybe he's going really, really small, and he's trying to kind of like test the market and just to see how the reaction is going to be. And I'm pretty sure since it was discontinued, it's probably going to be reformulated too. I don't know.
It's similar.
It's similar, and it's probably going to target his audience. It's not like he has a hardcore bodybuilders or or fighters or CrossFitters. He has his own followers. So I know, kind of reminds me a little bit. I mean, obviously they're different, of Guzman, because Guzman also has his own followers, and they will buy Ghost. Even if it would be dog shit, they would still buy it regardless because he sells it. So I think he's gonna. I definitely would not launch right now. That's for sure. But he carries a name, and I think that he's probably going to go so small. What is he going to have? 2 products?
Yeah, 2 to start. Sure. I mean, carbon was 2 to start, and then they added the protein like months later.
Right.
And he probably has some investors as well. And I'm pretty sure, money is not really a major issue either. So, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes and why he's starting right now. If he's doing diets and nutrition and training, more than likely he's referring people to other brands and probably gets a percentage or something like that. There is some kind of a deal going on. Then rather sending somebody to another company, he can just send them part of the package. I'm going to give you 10% off on training if you buy my products, because my products are the shit, and you're going to get additional 10%. I mean, obviously I'm just speculating, but something like that. At least he's going to probably get his money back. I think it's a very low risk. Will he go global? Will the brand explode or anything like that? I very much doubt, but, I wish him luck.
Okay, well,
I'm just curious if you wanted to launch this during the Arnold this year.
Nah, he wouldn't have waited this long, would he? I mean, if he wanted to launch the Arnold, it would have been a bit. Sitting on stock for what, like 6 months? That's a long time.
Right. Shane, where is he based?
I have no idea. America?
Florida?
No, he's Australia, right?
No,
I think he's in Florida.
No, I think he lives with his wife right now in Australia. I think so. Yeah.
Hey man, I don't know how these people. Okay. The next one we got. This is for Robert, and I think this is pretty cool. I thought this was pretty hyped. I'm excited for it, and this is only because every pre-workout I've tried from both of these guys has been pretty fucking cool. And I'm obviously talking about Inspired and their new Devastator of the Union.
Yeah.
They've been quiet. I said this to Chris, and Layne, I was like, Inspired's been pretty quiet since the whole year, pretty much. I mean, they did Ember, they did there was another one they did, I can't remember. But they've been pretty quiet. So the second half seems to be like where they're going to kick it off. I mean, I'm always excited about every launch. I don't know. What's your take on Landon, the man from Intel and Aries, coming together with Chris from Inspired to make a pre-workout?
I had Chris on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I think that's his second or third or fourth time on there. I don't know. Anytime I get to talk to Chris, it's kind of like talking to you guys. It brings joy to my heart. I always feel so uplifted after I talk to him, and I'm excited about that. But he gave me kind of like an inside sneak peek on the label design and everything after we got off of the podcast. So I saw the label, but I couldn't actually say anything about it. I think the design looks badass. The label text on the back of it, I don't know if you had seen it yet, Shane, but I mean, they totally crush it. I get a very if any of y'all have seen the original movie, The Purge, that's kind of the vibe I get, where you're kind of just like overthrowing this, anarchical type sense of everything. I really like it, and we know both of those guys can formulate a pre-workout that will light your balls on fire. Mm-hmm. So if I'm excited to see what is they know how to put together a really good stimulant blend, both of them. Intel Aries White, the old version that I tried, circa 2016, 2017, was super potent stuff. And Chris's Devastate White Cut still remains one of the pre-workouts that I still could never handle a full serving on. I always had to do like 3/4 of a full scoop just because it was too intense for me. I am super excited for it. I haven't seen the label yet of what it is. I mean, I've seen the label, but I haven't actually seen the ingredients panel. So yeah, man, anytime they're releasing something that's like you said, Shane, you get excited for it, and I'm excited.
The label, I think, is a lot like their BBD one. I don't know if you saw that one, the one with the big wolf face on it.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. So, I like how there's almost no reference to the brand, the name. It's just a big picture on the front.
Yeah, I mean, but both of those guys are so talented from like the creative aspect of like graphic design and knowing how to pitch things that it's it's going to be magic when they work together.
I'm excited to try that one. So the last story I have, and this is obviously for Lukasz. I was torn between two here, but I'm gonna throw you Bowmar Nutrition. I still think one of the hardest working brands out there. Sarah she just comments, replies, everything.
Workhorse.
And still doing organization on the other side. So they got a new Bowmar butter coming out. I'm pretty sure it's already out now. This is their they were always very sports nutrition, protein, pre-workout, and then it was like mid last year they came out with their nut butter, their nut butter, the protein infused peanut butter. Then they did almond butter, and so they've just run with it. So this week they dropped an icing version. I believe it is a nut-free
frosting
protein. Yeah, it's kind of like a protein spread, but they've called it protein icing, I guess, to play on the texture and the sweetness of it, because it's a birthday cake or confetti cake flavored. I mean, you would have followed the line, like you can only take nut butter so far. Like, what do you think of the direction? I mean, because if you start growing off this way, like this is their first, non-nut butter that's part of their nut butter family. Yeah, I mean, it's they got a lot of ways to go from here. What was your take on being a nut butter fan? What's your take on the icing approach?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's a genius idea, to be honest. And they just showed that like last year they were in your top 5 rating, right? I believe they're in fourth or third spot.
I don't know. I don't really count the 3rd to 5th. I was sort of just put them out there. I can't remember.
I don't remember exactly what
they were there.
Placing, but they were in the top 5. Yeah, they just showed, that they can like do some crazy stuff, and especially with the flavors and everything. And now due to this frosting concept, I think it's a cool idea. It's definitely something unique, and they also showed that they can produce like different flavors, especially with the nut butters. How many flavors they got? They got probably like 15, 20 flavors. So it's insane. And I remember like they introduced to the market like different kinds of like protein flavors. I remember carrot cake from them, and
I love their the grandma's recipe that's actually from Josh's grandma. I can't remember that, and it's got the grandma, and they give her like a chick or something residual.
Yeah, grandma's French toast. Yeah, they talked about that when I interviewed them. It almost brings like a tear to your eye because everybody has those memories with grandma making them some kind of food.
It's just funny when they said that, they were like, "Oh, grandma's recipe," and I was like, "Oh yeah, haha." And then like, no, it's actually grandma's recipe, and they're actually paying her for it.
Yeah.
Where are they selling? I mean, that has to be quite expensive to sell this shit.
They're direct, right?
They're direct to consumer.
Yep.
When I saw them for the first time at the Arnold, well, it wasn't this year, it was last year. Man, I remember my wife, there were 2 lines. We were like 10:30 in the morning. There were 2 lines.
Really?
One was for Alani Nu, and then one was for this other brand. And it was like round the corner. Like I thought it was Redcon because they were close. And then I followed the line, and they were lined up to see Sarah and Josh Bowmar. Really? And I didn't know who the hell these people were
because I've never run into them.
Sarah was I don't know if she was a bodybuilder, wasn't she? I'm pretty sure she was.
She's competed in 1 or 2 physique, in a few physique shows.
And so they've built like, and again, you check out their social media, it's just one of those brands that is just beyond, like they have just built the following. That's purely it.
Based on what? Interesting. Okay, I'll check it out.
Robert, you had them on your podcast, right?
Yeah, I had both of them on there. They were very cool to interview.
Yeah, when we had them on for they did the Protein Wars last year. It was the first year I think we had them in there.
Interesting.
And holy shit, like those guys. I mean, when they put out that they wanted their fans to vote, their fans voted. Man, it was insane.
Interesting.
They one of the. It's just like the Russian brand that I follow. I mean, I don't understand it, but they have like thousands of comments, and then
Bowmar?
Bowmar, and then like you'd never heard of them, but they have like thousands of people commenting.
That's awesome.
And you go to Bowmar, same thing, and you go to her live, she's got like 500 people tuning in. I'm like, it's just you don't understand it, but she's very obviously built this direct to consumer on loyalty, following, and you cannot discredit her for her work ethic, man. She's she's pregnant now. I'm pretty sure she hasn't had the baby yet. Soon. But damn, yeah, they work hard.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen. Well, that brings us to the end of another week's episode. For the listeners out there, thank you for joining us as always. And if you appreciate what we're doing, make sure to leave us a comment, thumbs up, subscribe, all of that stuff. Pass the word on to family, friends, and loved ones. And we will catch you next time on the Final Scoop podcast.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.